Well, one thing which self-builders very often neglect, forget or try to ignore is insurance. It may sound dull, but believe me, it really is terribly important for your project. With me is Simon Middleton from Self-Build Zone Insurance, and if I could ask you first of all, they do find it dull, don't they?
They do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the most interesting sort of element of the project. When they come to an exhibition like this, for example, they're going to be looking at some really exciting things. But we like to get across the point that the site insurance and the structure warranty is really, really crucial. At the end of the day, unless they're using a main contractor on a turnkey basis, they absolutely need it.
Now, of course, one of the things that everybody hates the idea of is making an appointment, having someone coming round, sitting for 3 hours in your front room, drinking tea and talking about insurance. But it's not like that, is it?
No, not in any way, shape or form. You can get a quotation online very, very simply. We've got a team of really experienced people who can help them on the telephone. And every project's different. You know, as far as we're concerned, it's making giving the right advice. So we'd prefer the people to contact us and to go through their project, and we can explain to them in some detail how they need to insure it. The quotation process only takes about 15 minutes. It's not a particularly long, drawn-out affair.
People might assume that the builder they're using is going to have their own insurance, so why do they need yours too?
Well, that's a common misconception, actually. Lots and lots of contractors and tradesmen, especially on the self-build route, will have public liability. Public liability carries many work-related exclusions. So, for example, if you're taking a property down to start with, demolition might be excluded by that particular contractor. So, you know, again, it comes to taking the advice. If we have the discussion with the self-builder early on, we can establish exactly what cover they require. But yes, a lot of misconception is that the builder will just cover it for them, and if the builder's not on site all the time, that is just not the case.
And will you take part in those discussions? Will you join in with the discussion with the contractor to make sure that everything's covered that should be covered?
Well, ideally, in fact, we don't really need to talk to the contractor. We just need to establish how they're going to actually do the project. So the typical self-build is perhaps to have the property built to a shell stage and then using various trades to finish off. You know, not one person is taking over the responsibility of insurance, which is why the self-build really must do it themselves.
Now, one thing we also must mention before we go is your warranty, because you offer a version of what we would think of as NHBC cover, don't you?
Well, we are a direct competitor to NHBC. The Build Zone 10-year structure warranty is perfectly suitable for self-build. The beauty of it is that we can do the building control alongside our own warranty technical audits, so the customer doesn't necessarily have to use the local authority. That then reduces the amount of inspection or the professional on site, which reduces the fee, so that's pretty crucial as well. The warranty covers the property for 10 years upon completion. It's normally insisted by the bank or building society, but of course if there is no mortgage on a self-build project, then the customer might not necessarily know they need a warranty. If they come to sell it at some point in the future, it becomes quickly apparent.
Well, that's really good. And I told you, not as dull as you thought it was. So now we're going over to Mike, who's going to bring a little sunshine into our lives.